Listen up, falling for your bodyguard isn't supposed to happen, right? It's the ultimate taboo, a line you don't cross unless you're begging for chaos. Yet here's the kicker, sometimes the love you're told is wrong is the one that saves you. Imagine a world where every glance is a risk, every touch a rebellion, where a man built to protect becomes the one you can't live without. Sounds insane, doesn't it? But Liam Carter and Emma Thompson didn't just flirt with the impossible, they dove in head first, defying every rule, every odd, and oh, you're gonna feel the shock of it. Stick with me, and I'll show you how a forbidden spark can turn into a fire worth fighting for, fast, raw, and real. Ready to see what happens when love laughs at no? When Liam Carter got the call to take on a new gig, he figured it'd be just another day on the job, stand tall, stay sharp, and keep trouble at bay. But then he met her, Emma Thompson, and, oh boy, no one expected the shock that hit him like a freight train. She wasn't just some VIP with a fancy title, her presence filled the room like a wildfire you couldn't ignore. He'd been trained to handle threats, not this, a woman whose every move screamed undeniable chemistry. The lesson? Life doesn't care about your plans when it throws you into an impossible love story. What happens next is anyone's guess, but Liam's world just tilted off its axis. The briefing was simple, shadow her, keep her safe, no questions asked. Easier said than done when Emma's laugh could light up a room and her sharp wit left him scrambling to keep up. He was the man who swore to protect her, a protective alpha carved from years of discipline, yet here he was, rattled by a smile. You won't believe how fast his steel walls started cracking, just a glance from her, and there was emotional tension he hadn't signed up for. It's like trying to guard a storm, you can't predict where it'll strike. Something tells me this bodyguard romance is about to get messy. Her world was chaos, paparazzi, late-night calls, a life lived under a microscope. Liam stepped in, all business, thinking he'd seen it all before. But Emma? She was a curveball, a spark that made him question the line between love and duty. Imagine you're hired to fix a leaky pipe, but instead, the whole house floods. That's the vibe here. Falling for the protector wasn't in her plans either, yet there they were, orbiting each other like planets on a collision course. It's the kind of twist that makes you wonder who's really at risk here. He'd handled high-stakes jobs, dodged bullets, stared down threats, but nothing prepped him for the way she'd lean in, asking his opinion like it mattered. Most folks see a bodyguard as a shadow, not a person, but Emma saw Liam, really saw him. That's where the trouble starts, folks, an affair of the heart sneaking up when you least expect it. It's a lesson in how the simplest moments can carry the heaviest weight. Picture a quiet coffee run turning into a memory you can't shake. Yeah, this gig's already risking it all for love. She moved through life like she owned it, bold and unapologetic, while Liam trailed behind, every instinct screaming to keep her close. Protective alpha? Sure, but there's more brewing beneath that stoic exterior, something forbidden, something electric. You can bet love behind closed doors is whispering in the corners of this story. It's not just about keeping her safe from the outside world anymore, it's about guarding his own heart. Funny how a job can flip into an impossible love story overnight. The real shock. He's not sure he wants to fight it. There's a rhythm to this kind of work, watch, wait, react, but Emma threw it all out of whack. 1 minute, Liam's scanning a crowd for danger, the next, he's caught in her orbit, wondering how she's turned his duty into a battlefield of feelings. Love versus duty isn't just a catchy phrase here, it's the tightrope he's walking. Think of it like trying to focus on a chess game while fireworks explode overhead, good luck with that. The chemistry's undeniable, but it's the kind that could burn everything down. And Emma? She's not making it any easier. So here they are, day one of this wild ride, and already the stakes feel sky high. Liam's got a job to do, but Emma's rewriting the rules without even trying. It's the start of something no one saw coming, a forbidden love simmering beneath the surface, ready to boil over. You won't believe how fast things can shift when passion creeps into the picture. What happens next isn't just about protection, it's about surviving the pull of something bigger. Buckle up, because this is only the beginning. Liam Carter was all about duty, show up, get it done, no fuss, no muss. Years of training had turned him into a machine, the protective alpha who never flinched. Then Emma Thompson stormed in, a whirlwind of fire and defiance, and suddenly his ironclad rules didn't stand a chance. You won't believe how she challenged him, not with guns or threats, but with a look that said, "I see you, and I'm not backing down." The shock of it hit him hard. This was no ordinary assignment. What happens next? A lesson in how some people don't just test your limits, they rewrite them. She wasn't the type to sit quietly and let him call the shots. Oh no, Emma had a spark that could light up a city block, and she wasn't afraid to push back. One day, she ditched the safe route he'd mapped out just to grab a coffee from her favorite spot, Liam trailing behind, fuming, yet oddly impressed. It's the kind of undeniable chemistry that sneaks up on you, turning a bodyguard romance into something way more complicated. Love versus duty. Try keeping your cool when she's daring you to feel something. That's emotional tension you can't train for. He'd dealt with tough clients before, politicians, CEOs, you name it, but none of them got under his skin like this. Emma would ask him questions, real ones, like what he'd do if he weren't the man who swore to protect her. Most people don't care about the guy behind the shield, but she did, and it threw him off balance. Picture yourself trying to stay stone-faced while someone's peeling back your armor. It's unsettling, thrilling, terrifying. No one expected this forbidden love to bloom so fast. Yet here it was, daring him to step over the line. Her fire wasn't just defiance, it was life, raw and unfiltered, and Liam couldn't look away. She'd argue about schedules, tease him about his stiff posture, and somehow make it all feel like a dance he didn't know the steps to. Falling for the protector isn't supposed to happen, but Emma didn't play by the rules, she wrote her own. It's a lesson in how passion can sneak into the cracks of even the toughest walls. Ever tried holding back a tidal wave with your bare hands? That's Liam right now, risking it all for love without even realizing it. The job was clear, keep her safe, stay professional, end of story. But when Emma laughed at his dry one-liners or brushed past him in a crowded room, that clarity went out the window. There's a secret that could ruin everything brewing here, love behind closed doors that's as dangerous as it is electric. You'd think he'd shut it down, right? Wrong. The line between love and duty blurred faster than a speeding bullet, and Liam was caught in the crossfire. What's a guy to do when duty starts tasting like a lie? She challenged him in ways that went beyond words, her courage, her chaos, her refusal to be tamed. One night, stuck in a safe house after a close call, she cooked them dinner with whatever scraps they had, laughing like it was normal. That's when an impossible love story started feeling real, two people, opposites in every way, yet tangled up in something undeniable. It's like watching a storm meet a mountain, one's gotta give, right? The shock isn't that she's trouble, it's that he's starting to crave it. Passionate betrayal's lurking, but of what? His job or himself? Every day with her was a test, a push against everything Liam thought he knew about control. Emma wasn't just a client anymore, she was a force, pulling him into an affair of the heart he couldn't dodge. You won't believe how fast a man of duty can stumble when a woman of fire lights the match. What happens next isn't just about protection, it's about surviving the heat of something neither of them saw coming. The stakes are climbing, and Liam's got no playbook for this. Guess we'll see who burns first. Liam Carter wasn't blind, he knew something was brewing, but admitting it? That's a whole different beast. Every time Emma Thompson caught his eye across a room, it lingered, like a secret neither of them dared to voice. The shock of it wasn't the glance itself, it's how it stuck with him, replaying in his head like a song he couldn't shake. You won't believe how a simple look could carry so much undeniable chemistry. What happens next isn't loud or obvious, it's quiet, sneaky, a lesson in how forbidden love grows in the spaces between words. And oh, it was growing. It wasn't just the eyes, though, touch became its own language. A brush of her hand when she handed him a coffee, a graze of shoulders in a tight hallway, and suddenly Liam's world tilted. He was the protective alpha, the man who swore to protect her, yet these little moments sparked emotional tension he couldn't dodge. Imagine you're holding a live wire, you don't drop it, but you feel the buzz. That's this bodyguard romance right now, teetering on the line between love and duty. No one expected it to feel this heavy, this soon. Emma didn't make it easy either. She'd lean in close to whisper something mundane, her breath warm against his ear, and he'd forget how to breathe. It's the kind of thing that'd be innocent anywhere else, but here. It was love behind closed doors screaming to be let out. Ever tried ignoring a fire while it's licking at your heels? That's Liam, pretending he's still in control while falling for the protector flips the script. The lesson's clear, you can't outrun what's already inside you. One afternoon, stuck in a car waiting out a storm, their silence said more than words ever could. Her fingers tapped the window, his gripped the wheel, and the air between them crackled with an impossible love story unfolding in real time. You'd think they'd talk it out, right? Nope, too risky, too raw. A secret that could ruin everything hung there, unspoken but loud as thunder. It's like watching two magnets fight to stay apart, the pull's inevitable. What's a guy supposed to do when duty starts tasting like a cage? The longer it went on, the worse it got, every touch a spark, every glance a dare. Liam caught himself memorizing the way she tucked her hair back, and Emma. She'd linger by his side longer than she needed to. Love versus duty wasn't just a phrase anymore, it was a war raging in his chest. Picture yourself trying to focus on a job while your heart's staging a coup, that's the vibe. Risking it all for love felt less like a choice and more like gravity. And the shock. Neither of them was pulling away. Even the small stuff turned big, like when she tripped on a curb and he caught her, hands steadying her waist a beat too long. The world didn't stop, but they did, locked in a moment dripping with passionate betrayal, not of each other, but of everything they were supposed to be. An affair of the heart doesn't need a bed or a kiss, it's born in the quiet, in the linger. No one expected this to hit so hard, so fast. What happens next isn't about words, it's about what they can't keep ignoring. So there they were, tangled in this unspoken thing, tiptoeing around a truth too big to name. Liam's supposed to be her shield, but now he's wondering who's protecting him from her, or from himself. You won't believe how fast a glance can turn into a lifeline, pulling them deeper into love behind closed doors. The stakes aren't just about her safety anymore, they're about surviving this pull. It's a slow burn, sure, but the kind that could ignite at any second. Guess we'll see how long they can keep pretending. Liam Carter didn't think twice when the chaos hit, instinct kicked in, and he moved like a man possessed. It was a crowded event, lights flashing, voices buzzing, when a figure lunged toward Emma Thompson with something sharp glinting in hand. The shock of it froze everyone else, but not him. He tackled the guy, taking a graze to the arm in the scuffle. You won't believe how fast a room can go silent, but there it was, the protective alpha proving he's the man who swore to protect her. What happens next? A lesson in how danger can forge bonds stronger than steel. Emma stood there, wide-eyed, as security swarmed in, but her gaze locked on Liam, blood seeping through his sleeve, jaw tight, still scanning for threats. She didn't scream or faint, she stepped closer, hands trembling as she reached for him. That's undeniable chemistry for you, folks, forged in the heat of risking it all for love. The bodyguard romance wasn't just a job anymore, it was a lifeline, pulling them into emotional tension no one expected. Ever seen a near-miss turn into a magnet? That's them right now, closer than ever. He shrugged off the medics, muttering he was fine, but Emma wasn't having it. She dragged him to a quiet corner, insisting on checking the wound herself. Her fingers brushed his skin, gentle but firm, and suddenly love behind closed doors wasn't just a whisper, it was loud and real. It's like patching up a friend after a bar fight, except this friend's your whole world. The lesson here? Bravery doesn't just save lives, it cracks open hearts. Liam's starting to see the line between love and duty isn't as straight as he thought. She wouldn't let it go, either, kept asking why he jumped in like that, like it wasn't obvious. Because it's you, he snapped, then clammed up, realizing he'd said too much. That's an impossible love story in a nutshell, words slipping out when you least expect, loaded with truth. You'd think he'd pull back, right? Nope, her quiet, thank you, hit him harder than the blade ever could. No one expected this forbidden love to bloom in the aftermath of chaos, but here they are, tethered by something unspoken. The night replayed in Liam's head, how he'd moved without thinking, how her voice cut through the panic to call his name. It wasn't just duty driving him, it was her, plain and simple. Falling for the protector sounds romantic until you're the one bleeding for it, wrestling with love versus duty in every breath. Picture yourself jumping into traffic to save someone, now imagine they're the reason you wake up every day. That's the shock of it, he'd do it again, no hesitation. And Emma knows it. She stayed close after that, hovering like she needed to make sure he was still there. A brush of her hand, a soft glance, little things that carried big weight, dripping with an affair of the heart. Passionate betrayal wasn't about cheating, it was about betraying the rules they'd both lived by. You won't believe how one act can rewrite everything, turning a job into a secret that could ruin everything. What happens next isn't about the wound, it's about the scars they're building underneath. Liam's arm healed fast, but the shift between them? That stuck. Every look now carried a memory of that night, every touch a reminder of what he'd risked. The stakes climbed higher, and this bodyguard romance turned into something neither could outrun. It's a lesson in how bravery doesn't just stop bullets, it sparks fires that can't be put out. They're in deep now, tangled in emotional tension that's as thrilling as it is terrifying. Wonder how long they can keep dancing around it. It was supposed to be a routine drive, Liam behind the wheel, Emma in the back, city lights blurring past. Then tires screeched, a car swerved into their lane, and the world spun out of control. He yanked the wheel, dodging by inches, heart pounding as metal grazed metal. The shock of it left them breathless, pulled over on a quiet street, safe but shaken. You won't believe how fast a near miss can strip away pretense. What happens next is raw, real, and oh so heavy. This bodyguard romance just hit a turning point no one expected. Emma climbed out, pacing, her voice shaky as she ranted about reckless drivers, but her eyes kept darting to Liam. He stayed calm, too calm, checking the car, brushing off the close call like it was nothing. Then she snapped, "You could have died," and the air went still. That's when it slipped out, he looked at her, dead serious, and said, "Not while you're with me." Emotional tension exploded, and the man who swore to protect her just laid his heart bare, whether he meant to or not. She froze, staring at him like she'd never seen him before, and Liam cursed himself for letting it spill. Undeniable chemistry doesn't care about timing, it grabs you and won't let go. Falling for the protector wasn't just a feeling anymore, it was a confession hanging between them, loud as a siren. Ever had a moment where you say too much and can't take it back? That's this, a lesson in how love versus duty can unravel in seconds. What's a gal to do when the shield becomes the storm? He tried to backtrack, muttering about adrenaline, but Emma wasn't buying it. She stepped closer, eyes searching his. "You meant that," she said, not a question, and he couldn't lie, not to her. An impossible love story doesn't need a script, it writes itself in the wreckage of moments like this. A secret that could ruin everything trembled on the edge, forbidden love spilling into the open, raw and reckless. No one expected it to hit this hard, but here they are, teetering on something huge. The car was fine, the night went quiet, but nothing felt the same. Liam's words echoed, a line crossed that couldn't be uncrossed, and Emma's silence screamed with questions. Love behind closed doors stopped hiding, it was out there now, pulsing with risking it all for love. Picture yourself confessing a crush in the heat of the moment, then realizing they heard every word. That's the vibe. The shock isn't the crash, it's what crashed through them. Passionate betrayals brewing, but of what? Duty or denial? She reached out, touching his arm like she needed proof he was real, and that contact lingered, heavy with meaning. Liam's walls, the ones he'd built so carefully, crumbled under her gaze. He was done pretending. The line between love and duty wasn't just blurred, it was gone, swept away in an affair of the heart neither could ignore. You'd think they'd pull back, right? Nope, they leaned in, caught in a moment that redefined everything. What happens next isn't about the road, it's about where this takes them. So there they stood, roadside, with the weight of truth pressing down. Liam, the protective alpha, had just bared his soul, and Emma, fiery and fierce, wasn't running from it. You won't believe how one slip can turn a spark into a wildfire, burning through every rule they'd clung to. This isn't just a job or a fling, it's something bigger, messier, alive with emotional tension. The lesson? Sometimes it takes a scare to see what's really at stake. Wonder how they'll handle this now. Liam Carter wasn't dumb, he knew the rules, knew crossing them could torch everything he'd built. But knowing and feeling? Two different beasts, and Emma Thompson was a storm he couldn't outrun. Every time she laughed or brushed past him, it hit him like a shock to the system, forbidden love clawing at his resolve. You won't believe how hard he fought it, clenching his jaw, focusing on the job, but what happens next? The lesson's brutal, you can't fight what's already taken root. This bodyguard romance just got real messy, real fast. He'd tell himself it was nothing, just a fluke, a glitch in his wiring from too many close calls. But late at night, replaying her voice, her touch, he couldn't lie, it was undeniable chemistry, and he was drowning in it. The man who swore to protect her wasn't supposed to want her, not like this, not with every fiber screaming risking it all for love. Picture trying to hold water in your hands, it slips through, no matter how tight you grip. That's Liam, losing a battle he never signed up for. Emma didn't help, she'd tease him, lean in too close, like she knew the chaos she was stirring. One day, she caught him staring and grinned, "What's on your mind, tough guy?" He muttered something about security, but his pulse said otherwise. Emotional tension doesn't play fair, it's a thief, stealing your control when you're not looking. Falling for the protector was her game now, too, and love versus duty felt like a noose tightening. No one expected him to crack, but here he was, teetering. He tried distance, kept conversations short, eyes on the perimeter, not her. But then she'd show up with coffee, or ask about his day, and those walls crumbled again. Love behind closed doors isn't loud, it's quiet, persistent, like a heartbeat you can't ignore. Ever tried telling yourself no when every part of you says yes? That's the lesson here, folks, an impossible love story doesn't care about your plans. Liam's in deep, and the line between love and duty's a ghost now. The worst part? He saw it coming and still couldn't stop it. A glance too long, a hand brushing hers, it piled up, each moment a brick in a secret that could ruin everything. He'd think of his career, his code, but then Emma's face would flash in his mind, and duty tasted like ash. You'd think he'd walk away, right? Nope, passionate betrayal wasn't about her, it was about betraying himself. What happens next isn't about willpower, it's about surrender. She felt it too, he could see it in the way she'd pause, searching his face like she was waiting for him to break. They were dancing around an affair of the heart, both knowing it was wrong, both too hooked to care. The protective alpha was unraveling, thread by thread, and Emma was the flame he couldn't resist. It's like trying to outrun your shadow, you can't, and deep down, you don't want to. The shock. He's not even mad about it anymore. So there he was, stuck in this tug-of-war, heart pounding with what he shouldn't want but already did. Liam could list a dozen reasons to shut it down: duty, danger, disaster, but none of them mattered when she was near. You won't believe how fast shouldn't turns into can't stop. This isn't just a job or a fling, it's a wildfire, fueled by emotional tension and forbidden sparks. The stakes are climbing, and he's running out of fight. Wonder how long he can hold out. It was late, too late, the kind of night where shadows stretch long and secrets come alive. Liam Carter stood watch outside Emma Thompson's door, restless, when she stepped out, hair messy, eyes soft, asking why he hadn't gone to bed. The shock of her closeness hit him like a punch, and before he knew it, their voices dropped to whispers. You won't believe how fast it happened, a brush of lips, tentative, then desperate, a forbidden kiss that lit up the dark. What happens next? A lesson in how weakness can feel like strength, until it doesn't. He pulled back first, breath ragged, muttering, "We can't," but his hand stayed on her, betraying every word. Emma didn't flinch, she met his gaze, fierce and unapologetic, like she'd been waiting for this. Undeniable chemistry doesn't ask permission, it takes what it wants, and this bodyguard romance just crossed a line no one expected. The protective alpha was supposed to stand firm, but love behind closed doors had other plans. Ever kissed someone you shouldn't and felt the world shift? That's them, right there. The air crackled with emotional tension, thick and heavy, as they stood frozen, tangled in what they'd done. Liam's mind raced, duty, rules, consequences, but his heart didn't care, pounding with risking it all for love. It was an impossible love story come to life, raw and reckless, a moment that could unravel everything he'd built. Picture dropping a match in dry grass, you know it'll burn, but you can't look away. The lesson? Some lines, once crossed, can't be redrawn. She stepped closer, not letting him retreat, whispering, "Don't you dare say that didn't mean something." And it did, oh, it did, loaded with passionate betrayal, not of each other, but of every boundary they'd sworn to keep. The man who swore to protect her wasn't just her shield now, he was her weakness, her fire. A secret that could ruin everything pulsed between them, alive and dangerous. No one expected a kiss to carry this much weight, but it's rewriting their story. Liam's resolve cracked wide open, he'd fought so hard, but that night, he was just a man, not a bodyguard. Emma's touch lingered, her scent clinging to him, and love versus duty turned into a cruel joke. You'd think they'd stop, right? Nope, it was like gravity, pulling them into an affair of the heart they couldn't outrun. The shock isn't the kiss itself, it's how it felt inevitable, like every glance had been leading here. What happens next isn't about regret, it's about reckoning. They didn't speak after, just stood there, breathing hard, the silence louder than any apology. Falling for the protector wasn't a game anymore, it was real, messy, and oh so fragile. The line between love and duty didn't just blur, it shattered, leaving them exposed in the wreckage. It's like jumping off a cliff and realizing midair there's no going back. The stakes skyrocketed, and this kiss wasn't an end, it was a beginning. You won't believe how one moment can change everything. So there they were, caught in the aftermath, hearts racing with what they couldn't take back. Liam knew it was wrong, knew it could torch his career, her safety, all of it, but Emma's eyes held him captive, daring him to feel it all. This wasn't just a slip, it was a dive into emotional tension that's been building for weeks. The lesson's clear, forbidden doesn't mean impossible, it means alive. Wonder what they'll do with the pieces now. After that kiss, Liam Carter and Emma Thompson didn't just step back, they dove into a game of hide-and-seek with the truth. Every stolen glance, every brushed hand, carried a shock of danger now, a secret they couldn't let slip. Love behind closed doors sounds romantic until you're the one locking it tight, praying no one knocks. You won't believe how fast passion turns into paranoia. What happens next is a lesson in how forbidden love thrives in the shadows. The stakes? Sky high, and climbing. They got good at it, too, playing it cool in public, Liam the stoic bodyguard, Emma the untouchable star. But behind the scenes, a look across a room could set their pulses racing, undeniable chemistry simmering beneath every "yes, ma'am" and "stay close." The protective alpha kept his mask on, but inside, he was risking it all for love. Ever tried acting normal while your heart's screaming? That's them, balancing on the line between love and duty like it's a tightrope. One slip could end it, her team, his boss, the press sniffing around. Liam caught himself double-checking doors, scanning crowds, not just for threats but for prying eyes. A secret that could ruin everything wasn't just a phrase, it was their reality, pulsing with emotional tension every time they got too close. Picture sneaking a love note in class, but the teacher's the whole world, and they're not forgiving. No one expected this bodyguard romance to turn into a high-stakes cover-up. Emma played her part, chatting up colleagues while Liam hovered nearby, but her voice softened when she spoke to him, too subtle for most, but a dead giveaway if anyone cared to look. An impossible love story doesn't care about consequences, it just burns, bright and reckless. They'd linger in empty rooms, whispering plans, stealing moments, each one laced with passionate betrayal, of rules, not each other. The lesson? Love's a thief, and it doesn't care who it robs. He'd catch her eye sometimes, and she'd smile, just for him, quick and secret, and it'd hit him how deep they were in. Falling for the protector wasn't supposed to feel like a heist, but here they were, dodging suspicion like pros. Love versus duty wasn't a debate anymore, it was a war they were losing, beautifully. You'd think they'd pull back, right? Nope, it's like adrenaline junkies chasing the next rush. What happens next hinges on keeping this quiet. The strain showed, though, Liam's jaw tighter, Emma's laugh a little forced when others were around. An affair of the heart doesn't stay neat, it spills, threatens to break free. One night, a coworker asked why he stuck so close, and Liam's "it's my job" sounded hollow even to him. The shock isn't that they're hiding, it's that they're good at it, too good. This isn't just a fling, it's a ticking bomb, and the clock's running low. So they kept it locked down, a secret dance of glances and whispers, every move calculated. Liam knew the cost, his career, her safety, everything, but Emma's pull was stronger than reason. You won't believe how love can turn you into a master of disguise, living two lives at once. The man who swore to protect her wasn't just guarding her body now, he was guarding their world. The lesson's grim, secrets save you until they don't. Wonder how long they can keep this up. Liam Carter didn't see it coming, a slick guy, all charm and smiles, sidling up to Emma Thompson at a gala. She laughed at his jokes, leaned in to hear him over the music, and something in Liam snapped. The shock wasn't the guy himself, it was the heat crawling up his spine, a protective alpha growling mine when he had no right to. You won't believe how fast jealousy can turn a man inside out. What happens next is a lesson in how forbidden love breeds possessiveness. This bodyguard romance just hit a powder keg. He stood by the wall, arms crossed, eyes locked on them, every muscle coiled tight. Emma wasn't flirting, not really, but every touch of her hand on this guy's arm felt like passionate betrayal, even if it wasn't. Undeniable chemistry doesn't share well, and Liam's heart didn't care about logic. Ever watched someone you want slip away, even for a second? That's him, wrestling the line between love and duty while rage simmered underneath. She caught his glare eventually, tilting her head like she could read him, and oh, that only made it worse. Later, in a quiet hall, she teased, "What's with the face, Liam?" He bit back a growl, muttering, "Just doing my job," but the lie hung heavy. Emotional tension spiked, love behind closed doors doesn't like outsiders, and this stranger was too close. No one expected the man who swore to protect her to turn territorial, but here he was, claws out. The guy, some producer named Mark, kept showing up, all easy grins and casual invites, and Liam's patience frayed thread by thread. One night, Mark offered to walk her to her car, and Liam stepped in, voice low, "I've got it." Protective? Sure. Possessive? You bet. Risking it all for love wasn't just a feeling now, it was a stance, a line in the sand. Picture yourself shoving a rival out of your space. That's the vibe, raw and unfiltered. Emma didn't miss a beat. She noticed the edge in his tone, the way his hand hovered near her back. "You don't like him," she said later, half smirking, and Liam shrugged, dodging the truth. An impossible love story thrives on secrets, but jealousy? That's loud, messy, impossible to hide. A secret that could ruin everything trembled under the weight of it. Falling for the protector meant owning her, even when he couldn't. The lesson? Love doesn't play nice when it feels threatened. He tried to shake it, told himself it was irrational, that she wasn't his to claim. But then Mark called her M like they were old pals, and Liam's fists clenched so hard his knuckles went white. Love versus duty? More like love versus sanity, and he was losing. You'd think he'd back off, right? Nope, it's like a dog with a bone, and this bone's got emotional tension written all over it. What happens next isn't about Mark, it's about them. So there they were, tangled in this unspoken war, Liam's jealousy a live wire sparking between them. Emma didn't push Mark away, but her eyes kept finding Liam, like she knew who really mattered. You won't believe how a stranger can light a match under an affair of the heart, exposing cracks they'd tried to ignore. The stakes climbed higher, and the air thickened with what they wouldn't say. Wonder how long they can keep this contained. Liam Carter hit a wall, weeks of hiding, fighting, wanting, and now it was crunch time. Emma Thompson stood in front of him, eyes blazing, asking point blank, "What are we doing, Liam?" The shock of her words cut deep, no dodging this one. Love versus duty wasn't a game anymore, it was a fork in the road, and he had to pick a path. You won't believe how fast it all crashed down. What happens next is a lesson in how forbidden love forces your hand. This bodyguard romance just reached its breaking point. He'd been juggling both, protecting her, loving her, pretending it could last, but the cracks were showing. Every stolen moment, every lie to cover their tracks, piled up like bricks on his chest. The protective alpha could handle bullets, but this? This was emotional tension he couldn't outmuscle. Picture yourself staring down two doors, knowing one shuts forever. That's him, torn between the man who swore to protect her and the man who'd die for her smile. Emma wasn't backing down, she'd felt it too, the weight of a secret that could ruin everything pressing on them. "I can't keep pretending," she said, voice steady but soft, and it gutted him. Undeniable chemistry had carried them this far, but now it demanded a choice. Falling for the protector was her truth, too, and love behind closed doors couldn't stay hidden forever. No one expected it to hurt this much, but here they were, raw and exposed. He paced, mind racing. Duty meant safety, structure, the life he'd built brick by brick. Love meant chaos, risk, passionate betrayal of everything he'd sworn to uphold. Risking it all for love sounded noble until you're the one bleeding for it, staring down an impossible love story with no roadmap. Ever had to choose between your head and your heart, knowing neither wins clean? That's the lesson, folks, sometimes the fight itself breaks you. She watched him, waiting, and that silence was louder than any argument. Liam thought of the job, her safety, his code, then her laugh, her touch, and duty started crumbling. The line between love and duty wasn't a line anymore, it was a chasm, and he was teetering on the edge. You'd think he'd cling to reason, right? Nope, Emma's pull was gravity, and he was falling, fast. What happens next isn't about words, it's about action. He stopped pacing, met her gaze, and the air shifted, charged with an affair of the heart that refused to be ignored. "I shouldn't want this," he said, voice rough, "but I do." It wasn't an answer, not yet, but it was a crack in the dam, letting truth spill out. The shock wasn't the confession, it was how right it felt, even when it was wrong. This wasn't just a fling, it was everything, and the stakes couldn't get higher. So there they stood, at the crossroads, hearts pounding with what they couldn't unfeel. Liam knew choosing her could torch his world, career, reputation, all of it, but walking away. That'd kill him faster. You won't believe how one question can unravel a man, stripping him down to bones and want. The lesson's brutal: love doesn't wait for permission. Wonder which way he'll jump. The call came late, a voice on the line, cold and clipped, promising Emma Thompson wouldn't see the week out. Liam Carter's blood ran ice, the shock of it slamming him awake like a gunshot. Someone wasn't just watching her anymore, they were hunting her, and he was the only wall between her and disaster. You won't believe how fast fear turns to fury. What happens next is a lesson in how love sharpens your edges. This bodyguard romance just got deadly serious. He didn't tell her at first, kept it locked down, eyes scanning every shadow, every stranger. But Emma noticed the shift, the way his hand hovered near his gun, the protective alpha dialed to 11. "What's going on?" she pressed, and when he finally spilled, her face went pale but her jaw set firm. Emotional tension spiked. Love behind closed doors wasn't a game now, it was survival. No one expected a threat this real, this close. Whoever it was, they were good. Notes slipped under doors, calls from burners, a ghost playing with their nerves. Liam doubled security, mapped escape routes, turned every room into a fortress. The man who swore to protect her wasn't just a title, it was his pulse, his purpose, risking it all for love without a second thought. Ever stood guard over someone knowing one slip could end it? That's him, living on the razor's edge. Emma didn't shrink, she fought back in her way, digging into her past, her enemies, anything that might clue them in. "I'm not hiding," she told him, fierce as ever, and it hit him, this was why he'd fallen. Undeniable chemistry fueled them, but this? This was love versus duty in overdrive, an impossible love story facing down a nightmare. A secret that could ruin everything loomed. If he failed, it wouldn't just be her life lost. The lesson? Danger doesn't care about your feelings. He stuck closer than ever, a shadow that didn't waver, every sense tuned to her safety. One night, a car tailed them too long, and Liam floored it, weaving through streets until it vanished, heart pounding, her hand gripping his arm. Falling for the protector wasn't just her story, it was his, too, and passionate betrayal meant nothing next to keeping her alive. You'd think fear would pull them apart, right? Nope, it welded them tighter. The threat wasn't a bluff: broken glass at her place, a photo of her pinned to his dash with a knife. Liam's calm cracked, replaced by a growl of, "Not her, not ever." An affair of the heart doesn't flinch when the stakes climb, it doubles down, fierce and unyielding. The shock isn't the danger, it's how it rewrote their rules, turning protection into something primal. What happens next isn't about love, it's about war. So there they were, backs against the wall, Liam a shield and Emma a fire that wouldn't dim. Every creak, every call, ratcheted the tension, but they didn't break, couldn't break. You won't believe how a threat can strip away everything but what matters: her, him, this. The line between love and duty vanished, there was only one choice now, and he'd die before he let it slip. Wonder how far he'll go to keep her breathing. Time was slipping through Liam Carter's fingers like sand, the threat loomed, and their secret teetered on the edge of spilling. A blurry photo hit the tabloids, him too close to Emma Thompson, her hand on his arm, and the whispers started. The shock wasn't the picture, it was how fast it spread, a match to the dry grass of their hidden world. You won't believe how quick a spark can turn to flame. What happens next is a lesson in how forbidden love races the clock. This bodyguard romance is on borrowed time. He tried to lock it down, brushed off questions, kept his face blank, but the press smelled blood, and the stalker wasn't far behind. Emma's phone buzzed with threats now, each one sharper, closer, and Liam's gut twisted tighter. Love behind closed doors was crumbling, a secret that could ruin everything dangling by a thread. Ever felt the walls closing in while you're still swinging? That's them, caught between danger and exposure. She didn't panic, God, no. Emma met it head-on, chin up, but her eyes betrayed the strain. They can't know, she whispered, and he nodded, knowing they meant everyone, her team, his boss, the lunatic out there. Undeniable chemistry kept them tethered, but risking it all for love was bleeding them dry. The protective alpha couldn't shield her from this, not the rumors, not the blade in the dark. The lesson? Secrets don't bend, they break. One night, a reporter cornered him, "What's with you and Emma?" And Liam's no comment was ice, but his fists clenched. Then a brick crashed through her window, a note promising soon, and the stakes skyrocketed. Emotional tension wasn't just between them now, it was in every shadow, every tick of the clock. Picture running a marathon with a bomb strapped to your back, that's the vibe, relentless and raw. No one expected it to unravel this fast. They scrambled, new locks, burner phones, plans to vanish if it came to that, but the net was tightening. Liam caught a guy snapping pics outside her place, chased him off, but the damage was done. An impossible love story doesn't get a timeout, it barrels forward, dragging love versus duty into the dirt. You'd think they'd cut and run, right? Nope, passionate betrayal kept them rooted, fighting for every stolen second. Emma clung to him in the dark, breath shaky, and he swore he'd fix it, even if he had no clue how. The man who swore to protect her was drowning, but her touch kept him afloat, an affair of the heart against a ticking clock. The shock isn't the chaos, it's how it sharpened what they had, made it crystal clear. Falling for the protector wasn't a choice, it was their lifeline. What happens next? Survival or collapse? So there they were, out of moves, danger and rumors clawing at the door. Liam's jaw set, Emma's fire flickering but fierce, they weren't done, not yet. You won't believe how love can turn you into a warrior, battling time itself. The line between love and duty was ash now, and all that mattered was keeping her safe, secret or not. The lesson's brutal, when the clock's running, you don't hide, you fight. Wonder if they'll beat it? Emma Thompson thought she had Liam Carter figured out, rough edges, soft heart, her rock in the storm. Then she found it, a file in his bag, her name in bold, detailing her life, secrets she'd never shared. The shock hit like a slap, had the man who swore to protect her been playing her all along? You won't believe how fast trust can crumble. What happens next is a lesson in how passionate betrayal cuts deepest from the ones you love. This bodyguard romance just shattered into a million jagged pieces. She confronted him, voice shaking, holding the papers like a weapon. "What is this, Liam?" He froze, eyes darting, and his silence screamed louder than any excuse. Emotional tension flipped to pain, love behind closed doors wasn't safe anymore, it was a lie she'd bought. Ever trusted someone so hard it blinds you, only to see the mask slip? That's her, staring at an impossible love story and wondering if it was ever real. He tried to explain, said it was part of the job, intel from before they met, nothing personal. But nothing personal didn't wash when her whole life was there, dissected, and he'd kept it quiet. Undeniable chemistry soured into doubt, was falling for the protector just her falling for a front? The protective alpha stood there, exposed, and love versus duty felt like a cruel joke. No one expected a file to torch everything they'd built. She paced, tears burning, replaying every touch, every word. Had it all been a game? Liam swore it wasn't, voice rough, "I'd never hurt you," but the damage was done. A secret that could ruin everything wasn't the threat outside, it was him, the one she'd let in. Picture finding a love letter from your partner, to someone else. That's the vibe, raw and gutting. The lesson? Truth doesn't always set you free, sometimes it traps you. He reached for her, desperate, but she flinched, first time she'd ever pulled away. Risking it all for love meant nothing if he'd been hiding this, and Emma's fire turned cold, questioning every moment. An affair of the heart doesn't survive on half-truths, and this betrayal wasn't small, it was a canyon between them. You'd think he'd fight harder, right? He did, but words felt hollow against her hurt. The threat still loomed, the clock still ticked, but this hit harder, Liam's past, his silence, a wall she couldn't climb. She stared at him, the man who'd saved her, kissed her, and now this. Did she even know him? The shock wasn't the file, it was how it rewrote him in her eyes, turning the line between love and duty into a lie. What happens next isn't about danger, it's about whether love can rebuild from ash. So there they stood, broken, Emma clutching her doubt, Liam drowning in regret. You won't believe how one discovery can flip a fairy tale into a nightmare, leaving forbidden love hanging by a thread. She wanted to believe him, God, she did, but the pieces didn't fit anymore. The lesson's brutal, betrayal doesn't need a knife, it just needs the truth. Wonder if they can find their way back. Liam Carter made up his mind in the dark, Emma Thompson's safety trumped everything, even if it meant torching his own life. The threat was closing in, the betrayal still raw, but he couldn't let her fall. He called his boss, voice steady, and quit, career, pension, gone, just like that. The shock of it wasn't the choice, it was how easy it felt, risking it all for love without a backward glance. You won't believe what a man will burn for the right woman. What happens next is a lesson in sacrifice. This bodyguard romance just went all in. He didn't tell her, not yet, just packed a bag, mapped a route, ready to vanish with her if it came to that. The protective alpha wasn't playing by rules anymore, he was rewriting them for her. Love behind closed doors stopped hiding, it was his fuel, his fight, and he'd face down hell to keep her breathing. Ever dropped everything for someone, knowing it might not fix a thing? That's him, betting on an impossible love story with no guarantees. Emma caught him at it, saw the bag, the maps, and her eyes narrowed. What are you doing? He laid it bare, whatever it takes. No grand speech, just truth, rough and real, and it hit her hard. Undeniable chemistry flared, even through the hurt, falling for the protector wasn't past tense, it was now, bleeding into every choice. The lesson? Love versus duty ends when you choose the heart, consequences be damned. He'd lose it all, his name, his past, if it kept her safe from the shadow hunting her. One call to an old contact, cashing in every favor, and he had a safe house lined up, off the grid. Emotional tension didn't fade, it sharpened, a blade he wielded for her. Picture selling your soul to buy someone a tomorrow, that's the vibe, fierce and unflinching. No one expected the man who swore to protect her to go this far, but here he was. She fought it at first, you can't throw your life away for me, but Liam's look shut her down, it's not throwing it away, it's choosing it. Passionate betrayal flipped, once of duty, now of fear, proving a secret that could ruin everything meant nothing next to her. You'd think he'd hesitate, right? Nope, an affair of the heart doesn't blink when the stakes are life or death. The shock. He'd do it again, no question. They moved fast, her hand in his, a car waiting, the night swallowing them whole. Liam wasn't just guarding her now, he was her shield, her shadow, her everything. The line between love and duty was ash, and this sacrifice wasn't noble, it was raw, messy, alive. Ever seen someone trade their world for a heartbeat? That's the lesson, love doesn't count costs, it pays them. What happens next isn't about running, it's about standing. So there they went, into the unknown, Liam's choice a lifeline Emma couldn't deny. You won't believe how giving up everything can feel like gaining it all, forbidden love blazing brighter in the dark. She looked at him, still hurt but softening, and he knew it was worth it, every damn second. The threat loomed, but he'd face it head on, for her. Wonder if she'll see it that way. The safe house was cramped, quiet, a bubble where Liam Carter and Emma Thompson couldn't hide anymore. The truth spilled out, not just the file, but all of it, his fears, her doubts, the mess they'd made. The shock wasn't the words, it was how they laid everything bare, testing forbidden love to its breaking point. You won't believe how raw it got. What happens next is a lesson in whether undeniable chemistry can hold when the masks are off. This bodyguard romance just faced its ultimate reckoning. He started, voice low, told her the file was orders, yes, but he'd stopped digging the second he felt something real. Emma listened, arms crossed, then fired back, "You should have told me." Fair, brutal, and it stung. The protective alpha had no armor here. Emotional tension wasn't a spark now, it was a flood, washing over love behind closed doors. Ever bared your soul and waited for the verdict? That's them, teetering on the edge. She didn't hold back, spilled her hurt, her fear he'd been a lie, every word a knife twisting in Liam's gut. But then she paused, eyes locked on his, and asked, "Why stay?" He didn't flinch, "Because it's you." Risking it all for love wasn't a slogan, it was his truth, and an impossible love story hung on her next move. The lesson? Truth doesn't fix trust, it tests it, hard and unrelenting. They circled each other, voices rising, then falling, anger, tears, the works. Emma admitted she'd leaned on him too much, let falling for the protector blind her. Liam owned his silence, his secrets. Love versus duty wasn't the fight anymore, it was love versus truth, and neither was backing down. Picture two boxers in the ring, too stubborn to tap out, that's the vibe, raw and real. No one expected it to hurt this good, this bad. The air shifted when she touched his hand, not a fix, but a tether, and he gripped back, desperate. Passionate betrayal wasn't the issue, it was whether they could rebuild from it, whether a secret that could ruin everything had already won. You'd think they'd give up, right? Nope, an affair of the heart doesn't quit, it claws for air. The shock. How much they still wanted this, even now. Silence fell, heavy but not empty, they sat, close, breathing it in. Liam wasn't just the man who swore to protect her, he was hers, flaws and all, and Emma's fire flickered, weighing it. The line between love and duty was irrelevant, what mattered was them, this, now. Ever faced a mirror and seen someone new? That's the lesson, love survives truth by evolving, not escaping. What happens next isn't about winning, it's about staying. So there they were, stripped down, no more lies, just two people staring at what they'd built and broken. You won't believe how truth can feel like a lifeline, pulling forbidden love through the fire. The threat still loomed, but this was their real battle, and they weren't done fighting. The stakes couldn't be higher, and neither could the hope. Wonder if they'll make it through. The dust settled, cops nabbed the stalker, a disgruntled ex-employee with a grudge, and the safe house wasn't needed anymore. Liam Carter and Emma Thompson stood in her doorway, bags packed, the world waiting, but neither moved. The shock wasn't the end of the threat, it was realizing forbidden love had rewritten their story, no one expected this twist. You won't believe how fast goodbye turned impossible. What happens next is a lesson in how an impossible love story can stick. This bodyguard romance just found its heart. He'd planned to walk away, new job, new city, let her live free of him and his mess. But Emma grabbed his arm, eyes fierce, "Don't you dare leave me now." Undeniable chemistry didn't fade, it deepened, roots too strong to rip out. The protective alpha wasn't just her shield anymore, he was her home. Ever thought you'd lose something, only to find it's all you need? That's them, staring down a truth neither saw coming. She laughed, a shaky, real sound, and said, "We're a disaster, you know that?" Liam grinned, first time in days, "Yeah, but it's ours." Love behind closed doors stepped into the light, no more secrets, just them, raw and alive. Risking it all for love paid off, not in fireworks, but in quiet, steady want. The lesson? Sometimes what shouldn't work is what matters most. They didn't rush, sat on her couch, talked about nothing, everything, letting emotional tension ease into something softer. The man who swore to protect her didn't need a gun now, he needed her, and she needed him back. An affair of the heart wasn't a fling, it was a foundation, built on chaos and choice. You'd think it'd end clean, right? Nope, it's messy, imperfect, perfect. What happens next isn't planned, it's lived. The world outside buzzed, her career, his future, but it could wait. Emma leaned into him, his arm around her, and love versus duty dissolved into just love, plain and loud. Falling for the protector wasn't a phase, it was their truth, a line they'd crossed and kept crossing. Picture finding treasure in a shipwreck, that's the vibe, unexpected and golden. No one expected this ending, least of all them. They'd fought threats, secrets, themselves, and somehow landed here, together, against all odds. Passionate betrayal, a secret that could ruin everything, all ash now, replaced by something realer. You won't believe how a love that shouldn't be can feel so right, so vital. The line between love and duty didn't break, it bent, shaped by them. The shock. They wouldn't change a thing. So there they sat, two unlikely pieces fitting anyway, an ending no script could have dreamed up. Liam looked at her, Emma smiled back, and the stakes faded, nothing mattered but this, them, now. You won't believe how what's wrong can turn into everything, a lesson in how love writes its own rules. The threat was gone, but they weren't, they were just starting. Wonder where this takes them next. So, there you have it, Liam and Emma's wild ride, a love that shouldn't have worked but somehow became everything. From stolen glances to life-or-death stakes, they turned forbidden into unforgettable, and wow, what a trip it's been. What hit you hardest? That kiss that broke all the rules, the betrayal that almost shattered them, or the ending no one saw coming? Drop a like if it got your heart racing, and share your favorite moment, I'm dying to know. Did you expect them to make it, or were you rooting for a different twist? Let's chat about it below. Oh, and hit that follow button, this channel's got more stories like this up its sleeve, and you won't want to miss what's next. See you in the next one.